Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I hope all of you are doing fine and you have covered the previous lecture about file organization well. We talked about serial, sequential, and direct access files, their merits and demerits. Our topic of today is going to be real numbers. How computers stores the numbers who have decimal point in them, the fractional part in them. There are two ways, floating point and fixed point, and we are going to look at both of them in today's lecture. Before we move on to fixed point and floating point representation, uh, I would like to have a review about how real numbers are represented in binary. From your previous classes, you remember that the answer to that lies in multiplication. For example, let's consider this value 3.625. And when I convert this, the 3 is going to become 1, 1, and the fractional part is going to become 0.101. Now you all remember how to convert the integer to binary, dividing by 2, and to convert the fraction into binary, we would be multiplying by 2. To multiply, we would take the fractional part away and multiply it with 2 separately. Whatever the answer we have, in this case the answer is 1.250. So we are going to take away the integer part of that answer. As you can see, the 1 there, we are going to take it away and multiply the remainder value with 2. So now 2 is being multiplied with 0.250. The answer to that would be 0.500, and the integer part, the 0, as you can see, is being included in the answer of conversion. And we would multiply that 0.500 to 2, and we would have 1.000, and the 1, the integer part, is going to be included in the answer. As my fraction has now been reduced to 0, I do not have to continue my multiplication. I cannot continue. Multiplying by 0 would only result in 0. There is one more way of doing that. Maybe you have done it like this in the previous years. We would take the fractional part, multiply it with 2. Whatever the answer is, we break it down and we write it in integer and fraction separately. This is my fraction and this is my integer. So this integer is going to become my answer, and this fraction is going to help me continue the multiplication process. To do that, next would be multiplied with 0.250, and as you can see, again the answer is broken down into fraction and integer columns, and the fraction will help us to continue the multiplication, and by multiplying with the fraction, we have now only zeros in the fractional part and there is a 1 in the integer part. And you remember that when you're writing the answer in your integer conversion, you always wrote the answer from bottom up. Well, when you are converting the answer of a fraction, you will always write it from the top down direction. So I hope your memory is a bit jogged up and you now remember how you used to do it in your O levels or a little bit in your AS. What if I need to get back? Means get back from my binary conversion back into my decimal number system. Again, I'm using the same value. The answer was 11.101. And to get back to my value, one of the ways is to just keep multiplying them by 2. Each digit of the value being multiplied by 2, and You remember here, the exponent of the 2 is 0 because it's a column of units, this one. Then it's the columns of 10, so the power of 2 is 1. And this is where your decimal point is. So when we are moving in this direction, you can see that the exponent of 2 on the left hand side they were increasing, and on the right hand side they were decreasing. The answer to this would be very simple. This would be your 2, this would be 1, this would be 0.5, and this here is going to be 0.125. If I represent these on a number line, so you might think of this at this 2 raised to power 0 is 1, this 2 raised to power 1 is 2, and if I had a 2 raised to power 2 here, it would have been 4, and then 8, and then so on and so forth. And on my right hand side now, this 2 raised to power minus 1, as you remember, this results in half. So another way of looking at it is that on the left hand, it's doubling up. So on the right hand, it should be halved. So it is going to be 0.5, then 0.25, then 0.125, and seeing that I have my 7 bits here, and remember that we are using 8-bit 2's complement, so my 8 bit is going to be minus 16, the sign bit of in my 2's complement system. If I now write my value, which is this here, it is going to become this, and now you can simply add it. Most of you are following this direct method of conversion from binary to decimal, so this is how that method plays out with the fractions. I hope that it refreshes your memory a little bit. And now let's talk about the fixed point representation. We call it fixed point because the position of the decimal point in binary, it would be called the binary point. The position of that point would be fixed. From a previous example, if that was my value 3.625 and it became 11.101, you can very easily see that the integer part remains totally separate from the fractional part. For the purpose of my example, I'm using 4-bit for integer and 4-bit for fractional part. Remember that your computer has to store fraction and integer separately. Your computer does not have any specific box or any specific register for your binary point. So the computer must be able to separate the integer and the fractional part and stores them separately, so it would know that which is the fraction and which is the integer. And now what we have done is that we have broken our value apart according to our binary point, and this is the shape of our value. Now this is a very simple method. All the conversion that you have done in your O levels, a little bit in your AS, you have been using the fixed point conversion method all along. Again, It is simple method, but it actually limits us. We cannot actually represent a lot more values in this. The problem with this representation is that we are limited, and whenever we have to represent large values, the fixed point representation will consume a lot of space in our registers if we want to use fixed point representation to represent bigger numbers. The answer to that is floating point representation. Before we start solving the floating point representation for computers and binary, let's understand the concept. Now, this is one of the values that you may have seen in your physics or chemistry classes. And you might remember this from your uh, science lectures as scientific notation. To store a very large or very small numbers, we just write them as powers of 10, and it actually makes our lives quite easy. Excuse me. There would be two words that I'm going to use extensively, mantissas and exponents. So you must familiarize yourself with them. Mantissa is the first bit that defines the non-zero part of the number, also called significand, and exponent actually tells us the place where the decimal point should be uh, present. Now, exponent does not play any role in the magnitude of value itself. Exponent just tells us where the binary point is going to be. We are going to follow this particular general style of writing floating point representation. A mantissa can be positive or negative. A radix means base. The base of decimal number system is 10. The base of the binary number system is 2. Since our computer only use binary number system, so we are not going to use this base. Means we are not going to write it like 2 raised to power 4. We are just going to neglect this 2 altogether and just limit ourselves to mantissa and exponent. Mantissa will tell us about the actual value, and exponent will tell us about where the binary point is going to be placed. Let's explore this concept in a little detail now. Let's consider this value, 8.75. When you convert it into the binary, as the method we reviewed in the earlier slides, it is going to become 1,000,000.11. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this place. Oops. It's going to be, it was actually right here at this place, and what we did, we actually moved it here before the first one. We added a zero, why zero? Because it's a positive value, so sign bit was 0, and I moved my decimal point actually 1, 2, 3, and 4 places. So that 4 converted in binary is my exponent. In your question, you're going to see this layout, which is displayed as table for your convenience. Mantissa and exponent are written separately. If I track back this example, if I do not look at this all upper portion, if only this part is given to me, the exponent is a positive number, obviously, the MSB is 0. The Mantissa is also positive because its MSB is also 0. What I have here is exponent. I'm going to convert that exponent, and this exponent is actually 4. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to convert this exponent, and this exponent is going to give me some value. Now I know that my binary point lies here. As per rule, I know that my binary point is going to be right after my first bit, right after the first bit of my mantissa. So I know that the binary point is here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift it. I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3, and 4 places to the right, because this is what my exponent is telling me. So the value is again going to become the part where I started from. So this is what the floating point representation is going to do for you. You can see that actually this was multiplied by 2 raised to power this. But as I told you that we just ignore writing 2 because the use of 2 as radix as base is employed. Okay. Now let's consider a very simple example. -5. As you may have guessed, the -5 is actually 1011. Why? Because first I need to convert 5, and I'm using 4 bits for that. And since it was a negative value, it has to be written in 2's complement form. And after taking its 2's complement, the value became 1011. Now, as you know that the binary point is right here. As you know that the binary point is actually right now at this spot. You can assume it like this, as many zeros as you like to imagine. 5.0 and 5 are the same thing. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take the binary point from this and write it three places to the left. So my exponent, since I have moved my binary point, my exponent is actually 3, and the representation of that 3 is 1, 1. As you can see the tables below you, as you can see the table below the bullets, the mantissa and exponent are written separately. You can see that mantissa had 8 bits, but in my value I only had 4 bits. So what I did I actually filled up all those bits with zeros. You must have picked up on that in the previous slide, that these zeros are going to be neglected. When I'm going to convert my value back, these zeros, since they are on the right side of the decimal point, they are going to be neglected when I do the conversion. Again, to track back the example, again ignoring all that, if I'm just looking at these two tables, exponent and mantissa, exponent is going to tell me the place of my binary point. Always imagine the binary point to, whenever the question is given in this format, in the form of tables, to always know that this is where the binary point is going to be. So this is 3, and I'm going to move 3 locations, 3 places to the right, and this is going to give me this value. And now you can see that I don't have to write the zeros. Even if I do, they are not going to have any effect on my value. And this is my actual value, 1 0 1 1. And since the MSB of that value is 1, so it's a negative value. I have to again take the 2's complement, and when I take the 2's complement of this value, the value become this. Now I cannot convert this value directly. I will take the 2's complement again and convert the result of that conversion. But since I had to take the 2's complement, the MSB was 1. That means the value was negative. Let's do another example, and this time let's pick a little bit smaller value. That's 0.125. And as you can go back in the video and you can see the third slide, this 0.125 is actually 0.001. You should practice with the conversion of real numbers a lot, so you get the concept of that cleared up in your mind. Now when I'm going to make it into floating point representation, see what happens. This time what actually happened, that rather than going to the left, I have actually moved the binary point to the right, and my mantissa and my exponent are actually in a quite different form. Let me try and show you how. So this was my decimal point. I moved it 2 places to the right. Since it was a positive value, I want my MSB to be 0. If it was a negative value, you know that we had to take the complement and then MSB would have been 1. So I have placed it just after the second 0. And now this is the part where I have placed my binary point. And these zeros are just the fillers, just uh, there to complete my 8 bits, since I'm using 8 bits for my mantissa. But since I have moved my decimal point to this direction, right hand, I'm actually gaining -2. And this -2, the binary of -2 is 1 0. You know that if I have to complete 8 bits with it, it is going to become 6 zeros and a 1 and a 0. But the exponent is negative number, and whether it's in exponent or in mantissa, the computer will take the 2's complement and then store the value. This was an important point. So this -2 is stored in its 2's complement form. As it has been stored in its 2's complement form in the exponent, you can see that. Now, leaving this part behind, if the question is given to me only in the form of this table, that the floating point representation is given to me and I have to go back to the actual binary, again, you must have seen that I'm always starting with the exponent. The exponent here is a negative number. I will take the 2's complement again and convert by exponent back. Sorry about the alignment of annotation, but so this was a -2. As it was a -2, now my job would be to move to the left. As I've told you, this is my binary point. So 1 and 2. Let's write a 0 here for a clarification and another 0 after that. So this is my decimal point and I have to move it to the left 2 places. When I do that, my value is going to become 0.001. Again, I can neglect all these ones as they are coming on the right side, on the right end of the binary point. They are not going to make any difference to the magnitude of my value. So now it should be easy for us. This is a half. This is a quarter. And this is an eighth. Which in decimal number system is going to be 0.125. So I'm going to conclude today's lecture at this point. I hope you have a lot of questions about this, and I really hope that you practice with the worksheet that I'm sending you away and the values that you can suppose on your own, because it is very important to practice with these. We would be doing at least 3 different worksheets of this before moving ahead to our next topic. The next one is going to be normalization and the limitation or advantages of floating point representation. Looking forward to your questions and feedback. Be well. Allah Hafiz.